Right. It is that time. We have got new Pokemon TCG Pocket cards. So we are going to have a look. No doubt you're one of those individuals wondering, should I spend my points on so-and-so card? Is this card worth it? What deck should we make? I am going to answer all those questions for you right now. But if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. I want subscribers. But we're going to have a look at all of the cards individually, go through and see what cards are actually worth investing in. Right, so let me just get Pokemon Meta up. A brilliant website if you're not using it. Use Pokemon Meta. This isn't sponsored. I just think they're very good. They used to do Duel Links, Master Duels. But anyway, I digress. Let's have a look at all of these cards and see what is worth it. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. And I will butcher these names, so I'm not even going to try. So we have Chatot. Shuffle your hand into your deck. Draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. You know what? It's not worth it. Okay, so if you're not going to run a red card, you probably could run this. But this is such a niche card that I don't think you should even bother. The reason I say not to bother is because, one, certain opponents run rush decks and they'll go through nearly every card. Maybe if they got a few evolutions like a grass set, they might hold on to some cards. But most of them are going to blast through their hand, which means at best you might get 3 new cards. And remember, you could just keep drawing the same cards. It's good you can shuffle, but you might not get what you want. So there's really no point in using that card. It's not great. Okay, let me just do it this way. It's a lot easier. Eevee. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. Do not bother. It has its niche. Actually, you know what? Hold on. If we're going to use this for an Eevee and you're going to run something like Jolteon, Flareon, Vaporeon, run this Eevee, okay? It's better than the other Eevee. Other Eevee might have Growl, might be able to stay there. But this Eevee, think about it. Off of the 1 in 1,000 chance, you could get 10 heads. That's 200 damage. You could knock out a Pokemon and win the game. This game has so much stupid chance luck. I don't even know what the max amount of heads you can get. I've seen 5 at the moment. I'm assuming it's probably 6 because it only shows 6 coins. It could be higher. But the point is, this Eevee is a win. If I had to give... So if I was rating them out of 1 to 10, Chatot... I don't even know why it's called Mimic. It doesn't do what Mimic does. But I'd say that's probably a 3 out of 10. Eevee, for what it is, a 5 out of 10. 6 out of 10, actually. It's a good card. It's a good card. That Eevee's a good card. Right, so Joltik. Let me find Joltik's evolution. So we have an idea. Its evolution should be in here. I'd be surprised if you didn't. Here we go. So, Electro Web. 70 damage. During opponent's next turn, the defender Pokemon can't retreat. Guys, if you are running electric decks, that is a very, very strong card. 70 damage, can't retreat. The biggest disadvantage it has is health. But I would get this over Electrode. Electrode, yeah, it has 0 retreat cost, which is very good for a Pikachu deck. But this preventing your opponent from retreating is very strong. I haven't got an electric deck, so that's the one deck I'm not the strongest at in giving advice. But I would put this as a 7, maybe 8 out of 10 at the moment. Right, so let's jump back down. I completely forgot they're all baby forms. So I probably should check for Eevee, see if Eevee's got any evolutions. I know Vaporeon was one. Let's see if we can find it. Vaporeon. Here we go. Vaporeon. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from one of your Pokemon, bench Pokemon, to your active Pokemon. Oh, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. This is the reason why it's disappointing. As often as you like, during your turn, you may move a water energy from one of your benched Pokemon, water Pokemon, to one of your active Pokemon. In other words, you could get a Misty, put 6 on the back. That's good. It's good if you... The problem here is, it's situational. If it was like, let's say, Gold Up Break, which was in the original TCG, where you could move them as often as you like from each Pokemon to one to another. I hope that's what it says. I'm going to look like an idiot when I put it on the screen. Then this would be a very strong card. But because it's only to your active Pokemon and from your bench, that means that, let's say we get it on your active Pokemon, you retreat your active Pokemon out. If it was, oh, I could have a Pokemon in the bench, put the active Pokemon there, put all the energy on, switch them out, and then I could do it again, you'd have more freedom. Actually, no, I think hold on. Doesn't usually, like, during your turn, you may move a water energy. So you can do it, say, 5 times. Let's say you use Misty on a Magikarp in the back, because we've got a new Magikarp in there. And once you've got 5 water energies on a Misty, you decide, hey, Vaporeon's out, let's put those on the active Pokemon, which is a Blastoise. That's great. But let's say Blastoise is going to be knocked out. This is what the point I was going for. And you don't want to retreat him, but you want the energy on another Pokemon, so that as soon as Blastoise is knocked out, they know, oh, this is going to attack them. You can't do that now. Because, unfortunately, the energy can only go to your active, which means you have to lose the energy, switch the Pokemon, and then put this Pokemon out. So the only way this would work is if we had cards like Switch, which I'm surprised we don't even have in the game. It's like the most basic TCG card, but it's not in the game at the moment. Or Escape Rope. So I'm not going to say this is a weak card. It's still good. I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's another good card. Probably 7.5, I'm being realistic. But again, it's not a basic Pokemon. You do have to evolve to get it. And then you're on the luck of Misty. And again, water decks all rely on Misty. If you don't get a Misty, it's a GG. So, yeah. Right. Pidgeotto with Pidgey. So, Pidgeotto. Is it worth getting that Pidgeotto? Alright, so the Pidgey, I think this is just better because I think the other one had Gust. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Pidgey, 10 damage. Sorry, 20 damage with Flap. Pidgeotto, 50 damage. It depends on what you really want. Because you're going to be getting a Pidgeot if you're running those, or else you're weird. You're probably going to want to third energy on anyway, so it might be more beneficial. But the problem you run into is you miss a turn of being able to attack. So if that gets knocked out, you've just wasted your energy. So, where's the Pidgeotto? EX, that's good. Scatter Cyclone. This attack does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So if your opponent, most people are going to run 4 Pokemon in total. So ideally, I would say you're looking at 140. So Pikachu, you can knock that out, which is good. Because Pikachu decks love their benched. You can get the extra 10 on and knock out a few other cards, like the EXs. But it's something you have to build up to. It's got 170 health, actually. That's very strong. 170 health. But is it something you really want? Because you're relying on benched Pokemon. It's a neutral, so it can go in any deck. But I wouldn't really focus on getting this. If it hit bench Pokemon, I was thinking, okay, maybe. But it's not. If we had double energy, this would be good. I will give this probably a 6.5. I don't think it's that strong. It's especially weak to electric too. And because everyone's going to be running electric decks non-stop. And then you're relying on your opponent having benched Pokemon. If they see Pidgeotto come out, they're going to be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to put it out. Unless they really have something out. And it's not one-tapping stuff like Venusaur, Blastoise, Charizard. So really, it's not the best card. So yeah, I wouldn't run that. I'd say probably a 6 at best. Pidgeot EX. So avoid. Right, so flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. That is basically Flying Pikachu, but 60 damage. Let's see, and you haven't got the support of reflipping coins like stadiums and items that we attach on the Pokemon. So this Pokemon as it is, unless we get those stuff in the future, which I think stadiums might pop in. I'm not sure about equipping items. I would hope they pop in. But because we have stuff that do 10 damage, like Giovanni, I can't see it realistically coming in anytime soon. So, I mean, if you've got a Misty and you just go off of that straight away, it could work, but I'm going to say it's a 4 out of 10. Don't even bother. It's not worth it. Right, let's finish off all the water types. We're just going to go in order. So, Chatot, okay, that's fine. Where's the other one? Let's evolve forms. Actually, no, just make it simple. Just stick on what I was doing. Just go one at a time. You can tell this was unprepared because the cards just came out. So, your active where's your evolution? Okay. 20 damage. 20 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned. That's good. We get more poison types. I think poison is lacking a bit. And then, if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 50 more damage. This is a better Muck, okay? Muck. I know you just need Grimer and then get a Muck in there you go. But this does 70 damage off the bat for 2 energy. Muck requires 3 energy, which has always been my problem with it. And that's the reason why I just don't see it ever being used. Muck can go back to your hand with Koga. However, this 2 energy to retreat, 70 damage off the bat, if you haven't got poison on anymore. I think this is a good card. It's strong. It's got uses. You'll have to figure out how you're going to play it in the a dark Koga style deck. However, I wouldn't focus on this because I think there is actually a better card you can use. And I'll get to that. You know, I'll get to that right now. Where is it? Salandit. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 40 more damage. Oh, wait, hold on. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned. Ooh, hold on. I might have misread this. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Wait, is this a stage? Oh, okay. Wait, what? This is the basic. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 14 more damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned. So, wait, what's the... Is there a third? There's got to be a third evolution. There isn't. Oh, okay. I misread this. I thought it was the basic Pokemon that done this. Because if the basic one poisoned you, and then you evolved into the other one, and it's only 1 energy to do more damage, and it had the other effect, this would have been brilliant. Because that way you would be doing... because then you could run Koffing with Weezing, get the poison off, use Koga, put it back into your hand, and then when it's back in your hand, recycle Salandit and salazzle. But because it's another way around, this is a new deck type actually, but it's going to be very hard to play. So where I was thinking this would be genius, it's going to be a lot harder now because you would have to get Salandit out, evolve it. So start off with a Koffing. We got a new Koffing there anyway. Put one random Koffing from your deck into your hand. I think have... because I was thinking only run Dark Energy. Because RNG with the energy is bad. No, it's a niche. I'm going to test it. I will test it. I will get the cards and give it a test and see if it's any good. It's probably going to just be a niche deck. But, yeah. Where is it? So going back to this then, your active opponent, Pokemon is poisoned. And then the one doing the big damage. I think you can probably make this work. Take up Muck, stick with Koffing, use this, and do what I was thinking with this, but with Scolipede. I can't pronounce that. This instead. That is, in my opinion, a better strategy because, again, 70 damage off the bat, and then an extra 50 more damage, 120, is 100 times better. You could even throw, but I wouldn't recommend, you could even throw this in Salandit and Salazzle and try and make it work. But because it's a 3-stage evolution, you're probably going to break more times than you like. So that's my thoughts with these cards, and Koffing included. There is a weezing here. Let me have a look. During your opponent's next turn, if the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, the attack doesn't happen. Koga works with this, bear in mind. But, oh, Koga works with this. But it's 50 damage, that's the problem. That's going to be very, very hard to make anything work with. So I wouldn't even... You can try it, but again, that's going to be in another niche deck, as if you were using these two. So I wouldn't bother. You can try for fun, but if you want to make a competitive deck, skip them. Right, Chatot, where is it? Your evolution should be around here somewhere. Oh, okay. Right. There we go. Flip a coin if heads. Discard a random energy from your opponent's way. Don't bother. Trash. There's a reason this is trash. I've tried using a steel deck. Mawal, or whatever her name is. Requires, I think it's 1 energy. Flip a coin if heads. Discard energy off your opponent's Pokemon. 20 damage. The problem with that is getting the heads. We can't guarantee a heads, and half the time it didn't even work. So I took it out of any steel deck I made. It's nice when it does work, but a lot of the time it doesn't. And getting evolving a Pokemon, free energy with a free retreat cost to gamble and be like, hey, I might get heads, is ridiculous. Don't bother. It is not worth it. Okay? That is a 3 out of 10. The only reason it's a 3 out of 10 is because 1, you could get a heads, and 2, Misty exists. If Misty didn't exist, it would be a 1 out of 10 card. But don't bother, it's not worth it in my opinion. Right, so this one's very fast. Purrlion and Liepard. I'm sure there's an evolution somewhere. Where is it? There is not an evolution, is there? There is not an evolution. Oh dear. Okay. I was hoping there was a third stage. I'm sure there's a third stage. There isn't a third stage. Right. Okay. So, this is a hard one. 90 health. That's not bad. Weak to grass. That's better. But people are going to be running grass cards now. I do not think it's okay because it does 40 damage for 1 energy. And it's 1 retreat. It's something to have in there so you don't brick. But I can't see it being used, really. It's not worth it. You could try to keep going 40 damage, but the thing is, if something's got 180 health and then they're running 2 potions, and let's say it's a grass deck that's got 2 Ericas in there, that's 140 healing, plus let's say it was Venusaur, it heals every time it attacks. You ain't knocking it out ever, so Liepard, just don't bother. It's not really worth it. Yeah, it's nice not to brick, but it doesn't add any real value. I would say a 2 out of 10 card. Finneon, let's have a look. Where are you? I know you're around here somewhere. Here we go. Yeah. This attack does 50 damage. Oh, it's got no retreat cost. Bear that in mind. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. But it's for 2 energy. I guess if you got Vaporeon here, you can make it work. But doesn't... who is it? Articuno already hits the bench Pokemon for 10 damage. And I'd much rather just have Sabrina switch them out and knock them out if you can. It's good that you can choose... Wait, it says this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I'm assuming you can choose which Pokemon you're going to hit. So it's got value, but it's an evolution. And that's the problem. You don't want to be wasting... Because, look, the basic has 1 retreat cost. The evolution has none. That's good. But that means the basics out here, you're going to be wasting time. So it's just not worth it. I mean, you'll probably knock out whoever you were battling. If they were, say, not an EX Pokemon, you probably knock them out by the time they retreat, which has its value. But then again, it's an electric weakness, and we know how broken the electric cards are. Right, so the next card is Magikarp. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. 30 health. Okay, I know what people are thinking. Is Magikarp any good? Well, it depends. He is. It's not worth it. Okay, it's not worth it. It looks good on paper, doesn't it? We all want to see the We want to see the carp splash out and take the meta by storm, but it's not worth it. This is the reason why. Where's Gyarados? Okay, Gyarados EX. Brilliant card. Yes, he's got an electric weakness, but he is still a brilliant card. But the problem here is, okay, he needs 4 energy. So basically, let's not pretend. You're relying on Misty. If you don't get Misty, it ain't working. So you need Misty to basically carry you. And again, I've played games where Misty, you know, you get 5 heads. I've also played games where Misty gets 0 heads. And that's it. You can't play this card anymore. So you can have a dead deck just because Misty didn't work. It is not worth it. Look at this attack. Rampaging Whirlpool, 140. So you're not even going to knock out most Pokemon. If it done 200 damage, we could justify it. But 140. And then discard a random energy from among the energy attached to all Pokemon. Both yours and your opponent. Do you know what that means? That means you could get Misty, get all the energy on, survive, get out your Gyarados, because you also need to get their Gyarados. So you draw Magikarp, get the Gyarados, and then once you get him out, he can be taken off your own energy. It's not worth it. That is, and he requires what? Thankfully it's free to retreat, but once he retreats, that's it. You ain't playing him again. He's just a dead card. And not only that, where's Magikarp? Switch this Pokemon from one of your bench Pokemon. So with Magikarp, you can play him, put an energy on him, and then switch him out. But that's only if you're going second. Or maybe it's ridiculous. You'd have to play a very stall heavy deck. And if they got Sabrina and take out the Magikarp and knock him out, then that stall heavy deck is just an instant loss. It is next to impossible to make him work unless Misty gives you RNG. And Misty needs to be nerfed at one point anyway. I don't know why it lets you get that much. Compare it to Brock. Misty realistically should be like, hey, flip 3 coins for each head, attach it to a water Pokemon. And Brock should be, I don't know, any rock Pokemon. Point here is, don't run Magikarp, don't run Gyarados. A 1.5 out of 10. It has a use, but it's just not worth the payoff. It's like trying to summon the what's it called? The Sphinx, the strongest Sphinx one out of old school Yu-Gi-Oh! You ain't gonna be having it happen. And when it does happen and it gets taken out, you're gonna feel like it was an epic moment, but yeah, that was dumb. So Magikarp, Gyarados, don't bother. We've already talked to these guys. Geodude. Okay, this is interesting because this might make Brock playable now because Onyx just ain't good on his own. Getting the Golem out ain't worth it, so let's have a look. Geodude, Light Punch, 30 damage. That's not bad. Where's Graveler? Where is he? Where is he? Did not give us a Graveler. Oh, here we go. So Graveler. Okay, 40 damage, 100 health, free retreat cost again. Golem, Guard Press. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. Weak to grass though. 160. That is very strong. See, that is a very strong card, people, but there's a problem. How much health is he going to have when you get him out? It's 4. You can get him out with Brock. It can work. And when you do get him out and you're doing 120, that means you're 2-tapping every Pokemon, which is good. 2 hits, knock out a Pokemon, clean. Plus the minus 30, which means you're going to survive a lot longer. If it's a grass Pokemon that's got your weakness, you can survive. He has a fighting chance. You know what? He's worth it. He's actually worth it. I will give him a solid 8. And I know people might look at me and think, oh, you're mad. Why would you give Golem an 8? That makes no sense. Hear me out. I don't know how many people have played a steel deck with Melmetal, but he's kind of broken. And you want to know why he's broken? Because of the reduced 10 damage. He survives nearly every attack and then can 2-tap a Pokemon. And I know whatever its baby form is helps get the energy on, but that's what Brock is for. Brock will help you get the energy. You can keep this in the bench. Once you bring out Golem, you go to town. You start knocking out Pokemon. It's easy. I don't think there's anything in the game that can one-tap you apart from Charizard. Yeah, apart from Charizard, nothing should be able to one-tap you. Problem is you have to 2-tap a Charizard. But Charizard needs, 6 energy? Maybe Blastoise. I'd have to check his effect. But I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a bad card. It's not a bad card. It can work. I don't know how you're going to deal with Charizard, Blastoise. I'm trying to think what you can pair it with, because you don't want to really run Onix in this situation, because you want the energy to go on Golem. Maybe you could run Sandslash or even Mew. So I'll probably check that a bit later, but I do. Oh wait, hold on. We have a Marshadow next to it. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 60 more damage. So really, I would run 2 Marshadows, Golem, 2 of those, 2 Gravelers, 2 Geodudes. There's 8 Pokemon. You've got your 4. Yeah, you get your 4. If you don't want to run this, run a Sandslash, because Sandslash 100 health. He's actually the best out of all the basic Pokemon that do 70. Sorry, first stage Pokemon that do 70 damage, because he has 100 health. I guess Electrode's comparable because he has no retreat cost, but 100 health, 70 damage. Have those 2 survive, and then try to get thingy out. The only issue is with Graveler, with Golem, is that you can take damage before he comes out, which is a problem. You don't want to be taking damage before he comes out, because that way Pokemon EX is going to knock you out. However, if you can get him out with nearly full HP, realistically he'll probably have like 120, 100. He will become a menace, and if you can keep pumping heals into him, I mean, don't try Butterfree. Don't try Butterfree, okay? I know that would be great, but don't try Butterfree. If he had 180 health, go Butterfree, you'd be invincible. But he doesn't, so I'm going to drop him down to a 7 point. He's a 7. He's a 7, okay? I want to give him an 8. I really do, but he's probably a 7. But I can see people running him in the deck doing well. If you get those Brocks, it works. It really works. I do think Brock should give, because it's specific about the Pokemon, it should really just give 2 energy to them. And then if it done that, this would be an 8, maybe 8.5. But as it is, a 7, so you don't really want to go for this. But if you want a fun deck to experiment with, try putting him in. Right. This is what I'm excited about. This is one I'm excited about. Rapidash. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 60 more damage. So a normal Rapidash does 40 damage for 1 energy, which is good. You know, it's nice to get a quick damage in. This can do 100 damage for 2 energy. It can do. That's the only thing you got to remember. It can do. It probably get knocked out after, but there's a really, really good reason why I like this. I don't like the chance aspect, because the other one is consistency. You know the damage you're going to be doing, you have to calculate the maths. But there's a lot of times where you just lose because you haven't got the damage. This will give you the damage, but with Blaine giving you the extra 30, that is 130 damage. You can knock out, I mean, you're knocking out Celebi that's coming out anyway. I think you can knock out Mew. You can knock out Pikachu. That's a big threat you want, God. You can knock out Mew, okay? You can one-tap a Mew. Who can't one-tap a Mew? Ninetales, it does a 120 with Blaine. 130, you can knock out a Mew. That is good. That is good. So this works with the rush style of the deck. The only issue is it's flipping a coin. But for 60 more damage? This is an 8.5. Okay, I think people should run this with their Blaine decks. You know, I want to say 8.5. It's an 8, like 8.5 or 8, in between there. And the only reason is it's a coin flip and it's an extra energy. But I think it is worth it for the investment, because you just want the damage. And even if it doesn't work, for example, what was one of the best decks in the tournament? It was a sleep deck. And sleep decks require flipping a coin. So you do have to have a bit of luck sometimes. The best decks are water decks. What do they require? Flipping a coin. So you're going to have to take a bit of a chance, and that's the sad reality if you want to have a good deck. And with this deck, it's flipping a coin, but that's the only variable in the whole deck. I think it is a solid 8.5. So Rapidash is a must-have if you're running a fire deck. Florges. This really should have been a fairy card, but we don't do fairies no more. Okay. Heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. This attack does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's bench. Oh wait, you're a different card. Where are your baby forms? Wait. Oh, I went up. That's why. Oh dear. Okay, we're out of sync. All right, let's jump back to primeape and Mankey. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. This is better. This is better. Flipping it, and that is better. Okay. That's a 9 out of 10. Mankey alone is a 9 out of 10. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. So you can do nothing, but it does 50 damage. And bear in mind, a lot of Pokemon are weak to fighting type. So this can do 70 damage for a Giovanni, 80 damage. And then you don't even have to go for this primeape, which is actually very good, actually. 50 damage consistently. But you can also go for the other primeape that does, what is it? I think it's 100 damage. It does 40 and then an extra 60. I don't remember the exact numbers, but actually, let me get it up on my phone. Let me have a look. How much does that primeape do? Right, that primeape, because I actually do have primeape in a deck. Actually, I can just check it on here, can't I? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Ah, there's events came out too. Let's see, primeape. Here we go. No, that's not primeape. Bear in mind, I'm missing like 10 cards. They're not even the full art ones. I got all of those ages ago. Here we go. So it does fight back. It does 100 damage. So basically, yeah, what I would recommend, run this primeape with the old primeape, because they have no choice. Whereas the old primeape, it does 10 damage to itself, does 30 damage. That's pretty good. But they know, because when you do the 10 damage, you're on 40 health, they knock you out. That was always the problem I faced. This 150, they're not going to knock you out most likely. Jinx isn't going to one-tap you, like always happens. But then this is the fun part. If you run the other one, rather than do the 50, you're doing 100 guarantees, because they're going to try and knock it out. You evolve it next turn, it's 100 damage. That's right. This primeape, 9 out of 10, a fantastic must-have card for a fighting deck, okay? And run the old primeape, Mankey, I keep calling him primeape. Run the old primeape with it, and you will be good. Right, so Slurpuff, Magic Shot, Fairy Wind, 60 damage, not bad. 2 energy though. It don't have any evolution, do you? You wouldn't imagine that I play games like this, would you? Oh look, the Mew's in here now. Okay. At best, it's basically Sandslash, what's it called? Sandslash, Golduck, Electrode, and all those cards. The problem is, it does 10 less damage for 10 more health. And remember what I said about Sandslash? He has 100 health, 70 damage. So, it's a worse Sandslash. You can make it. You could use it, but I wouldn't bother. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10. Especially for a psychic deck, probably a 3 out of 10. No, probably 2 out of 10. You don't need this card, okay? There's much better things you can play with. Ponyta, I forgot about this. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 13 more damage. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. Ponyta, run that with what's it called? Rapidash. Yeah, Rapidash is a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for Rapidash. 9 out of 10 for the Mankey. Put the old primeape with it. Heal 10 damage from this Pokemon. 70 health, actually. That's not bad. Hold on. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep, so that's good. The problem is if it wakes up, it's probably knocking this out. Weak to Steel as well. No one's running Steel, so you're fine there. Oh, I mean, I'll be running Steel, but yeah, so not great. 40 damage now. Heals 10. But wait, there's more. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? 80 damage, heal 20. Heal 20. That's the only problem. If it was heal 30, I could see it working. But heal 20 is too low. Because you're going to get knocked out. You're going to get knocked out within that time. That's the problem. You're going to get knocked out. So at best, I could say that's probably a 6.5 out of 10. The thing is, it will stay alive. It's good for a stall. If you're running 2 of them, you might be able to stall for a bit longer. But that 8 damage is nice, but it's not really worth it. It's probably still getting, if not 2 tapped, 3 tapped. So my honest thoughts are, don't bother. It's a 6 out of 10. It's got its niches, but still, it's not fully worth it. Right, so headbutt, 20 damage. Okay, it's not bad. Where are you? I don't even know how to pronounce that. But Mind Jack. This attack does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Do not run this. Do not run this. Do not run this. Oh dear. Do not run this. Okay, this is a each of your opponents benched as well. It's not even each Pokemon, it's benched. So the match you can be doing is 70 damage for 1 energy. No, just don't run it. I mean, so this is the thing. It's a better version of this. It's a better version of Slurpuff. It legitimately is. Slurpuff does what? 20 damage and then 60 damage for 2 energy. This does 20 damage off the bat, so they're exactly the same except different weakness, and then it will do most likely 70 damage, most likely 50 to 70, but it's not consistent and there's no guarantee, so we run back into the same problem. Whereas I would say this is probably a 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I would say this is probably more of a because it's 1 energy, so it's not as bad. You don't have to keep cycling energy into it, but Psychics aren't bad at getting their energy, are they? They've always been good because of Gardevoir. So I would say, at minimum, this is a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Probably, I'd say 4.5 out of 10. It's just below average. So don't bother running it. Right, the Dende. Wait, the Dende? Yeah, the Dende. That's it. Thundershock, Flip a Coin, and Paralyze. Yep, okay, fair enough. Where are you? Wait, you ain't got an evolution, have you? No, he hasn't got an evolution. Wait, you haven't got an evolution. You're a meme. Where is it? No, that's just a meme. Don't. Wait. Yeah, it's a meme. Don't bother. I don't even know why you would run this. It doesn't evolve. It does 10 damage. Yeah, just that's a 0 out of 10, guys. Don't even run it. Okay, you probably 0.5 because it at least paralyzes you. You could play that, get 30 heads in a row, and win. Is it realistic? No. Is it possible? Nearly no, but it is got a possibility. So this is, in my opinion, a 0.5 out of 10. Do not run it unless you really want to meme hard. Pikachu, though. That's in Japanese. That's in Japanese. That doesn't help me. Right, where is my phone? Hold on, I'm just going to pull it up on here to see what it actually does, because I can read Japanese, but not that good. So, let's see. I always forget how to actually check the cards. But Pikachu. Here we go. What does it say? This attack does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. Yeah, see, that's already a better thing than Thingy, but I still wouldn't even... I mean, you have other Pikachus, and I don't think Pikachu ever sees the light of day in action. He mostly just sits in the back until you get Raichu, and you run Pikachu EX anyway. So, this Pikachu, in my opinion, it's maybe a 2.5 out of 10. It's not horrible. It's not great. I think I'd put this on versus the other Pikachu, but it's nothing special. Right, and then we got Raichu, which is, where are you? The better Pikachu, because he's chubby. This attack does... So it does 60 damage, 3 energy. That's not good. If this also does... This attack also does 20 damage for each of your opponents... To each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's not worth it. The other Raichu is already better. Does 20 damage to the bench Pokemon, so if you don't finish them off, it can be a nice way to finish them off, because think about the speed of Pikachu decks. They sweep their opponent fast. Yes, they sweep their opponents fast. You would also have a Raichu if you're going to run Surge, but you'd only ever use it once, and that's kind of it. And yes, he can knock out back row Pokemon, but you run into a problem of if he needs to knock out the active Pokemon, he hasn't got enough damage, then you lose. Whereas that Raichu is like guaranteed to always knock out a Pokemon. That's the whole reason he comes out. It's like, oh, I'm going to lose, and then I finish off my last play is using Surge and then switching to Raichu because he has all the energy, and then one tapping the active Pokemon, and that's how they win. It's good because you can take out the back row, but I'd much rather just hold on to a Sabrina and play that way, because if everything's already low from a Pikachu deck, which is the most consistent case, then it just makes more sense to just, you know, use a normal Raichu rather than this Raichu. Now, if it can survive for 2 turns and just keep doing 40 damage to the back row, that would be perfect. You might be able to run a whole Pikachu Raichu deck. But because it's free energy and you're most likely relying on Surge, I think, because there is an Electabuzz here too, you might be able to just run a Surge deck without going full Pikachu, EX and Zapdos and all that stuff. That might be the way to run this Raichu. But do not run him in the Pikachu EX decks where I always see just that one Raichu come out just to sweep opponents, because this one hasn't got the same firepower. He's more for eliminating the back row. And if you can just get him out there and keep attacking the back row, that is even better. So I'm not going to say he's trash, actually. I'll say he's probably like a 7 out of 10. He can work. He's not bad. But you need a specific deck build. Hold on. Let me see what Electabuzz is. I'm surprised we haven't got his evolution, but this attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay, yeah. See, you can run this with it. You can make a Surge deck and play it that way. Problem is, I don't know where you're going to get the firepower from, though. That's the only issue. So you might have to run Pikachu and then Electrode, Electabuzz, and Raichu. And the problem is, if Pikachu gets knocked out, you lose. So this is my problem here. At best, I'd say it's a 7. It's not horrible. This, I wouldn't even want to put 40 energy on just to do that. You'd have to run like Surge and give it to Raichu right after, hoping you have him there. If he had an evolution, maybe, but he hasn't, Electabuzz. So I wouldn't run Raichu. You could put him in to replace the normal one, but I think it's a downgrade. Unless you keep losing and it's like, hey, if only I could hit the back row one more time, then put this one in to replace the other one. But most of the time, I think the other Raichu is just going to be better because you're guaranteed to knock them out. And they're always going to see it there and be like, I can't switch this into there because I know you're going to just knock me out if you have Surge. Versus, hey, can I go into my back row? I probably can go into the back row. But then it's like, hey, I might as well just stay in, and they have more options in my opinion. So yeah, it's probably close to even, but I would much rather just have the high damage dealer. So you can run it. Would I? No, but I can see it working. Right, so where am I? That's why I keep thinking I gotta go back down. Right, this is a funny one. This is a funny one, guys. Take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Then we've got, oh, okay, that makes more sense. So you can't run, I mean, you can, don't run this with the EX one, because that requires 1 energy, maybe 2 to retreat, so I guess it gives it a free retreat. But I just, you don't even want it in the active zone. That's the thing. You wouldn't even want this in your active zone. It's like Melmetal, the baby form. If you put it in the active zone, half the time it's going to get knocked out. Unless you can guarantee it won't be knocked out, and you're going second, and you say you got a retreat cost in your hand, I wouldn't put it in your active zone. But if you did, what does this do? This attack does 20 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. I can make this work. This is basically male metal, but this one does more damage and doesn't have the attack reduction. Because let's say you got Charizard out, that's gonna be 160. Maybe you can hit 200 if it had all 6 on it, and you forced it out. Blastoise, you can knock that out. So this is strong, but it's weak to fire, and fire decks are gonna become rampant now. So, do I recommend it? No. But I can see it. I guess you have got Erica as well, so it can stay alive a lot longer. But I wouldn't bother, because it's such a niche, and you have to hope you go second, so that you can even get the energy on. I guess there is another card, actually. Where is it? So, Snivy. Servine. And where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Superior. You could try it with this, but my problem with this is there's another reason I have an issue with this. So each grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 energy. This effect doesn't stack. So you can run 2 in your deck. I wouldn't run 2. Actually, I'd probably run 2 just for consistency to make sure you get one. And that way, once you've got one, you can use the other one to attack with 2 energy, 70. But there's a problem here. Whereas it works great for cards like you need time. And that's the problem. With how dominant fire decks are going to be, you're not going to want to have time. And other decks too, 110 health is just not enough to survive. And with, where is it? You, getting 4 energy on is going to be very hard. If you run them both, it can work, and you might be able to run stuff like this. If this Pokemon has at least 3 extra energy attached, this attack does 70 more damage. That's good. The alliance is good. It can work. But then again, you're all reliant on Superior, and that's the same thing as being reliant on Gardevoir. And we all know how those decks feel at times when you don't get the card that you need. But I might be... The thing is with Psychic decks, not many people will run around with Dark decks, unless it's a Koffing. Superior can work, okay? I'm gonna say it's an 8 because it's got a strong effect. It just hasn't got the health. And because it's weak to fire, and I know how fast fire... It's just not winning on a fire deck, okay? That's what you have to realize. If you're gonna run this deck, as soon as you get a fire deck, just, instant quit, because it's like, yeah, I've lost. Type of thing. You can try, but you're never going to have a good time. Like, there's certain decks where you can play against another style of deck and you can be like, okay, I can have a good time. But you're not having a good time against a fire deck. And most decks that do more than 110 damage, and quite a lot of them do. Even Pikachu, you're not probably going to have a good time with, because this is more of a slow deck. Whereas Pikachu, that will just rush it. You will get blitzed. If you're facing other slow decks, expect results. If you're not, this card is going to get blitzed before you even have a chance to set up. So, Superior, I'll say it's an 8 out of 10. And then Exeggutor, we're going to say 6.5 out of 10 because it can work. But the problem is, you need good RNG. And since there's so much RNG in the game, you don't want to be relying upon, oh, this has to happen, that has to happen, this has to happen, that has to happen. You want to basically eliminate as much variables so that it's like, okay, I only have to rely upon... That's why I said Rapidash and Ponyta are good. A 9 out of 10, because in a Blaine deck, the only variable is if you can do maths. Or if you have enough damage. Whereas having one flip a coin is the only extra variable. That's fine. It's still consistent almost to this full degree. So, next one. Where's your baby? Lavesta. 30 damage. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I didn't know Magma was here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here we go. This got 2 fire energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. The problem with these is, because it does 80 damage, I don't think it counts weakness. Because it's more of an effect damage, which is a problem. But for free energy to do 80 damage to one of your bench Pokemon, it's not good. So there's 2 fire decks going on at the moment. You've got Blaine, which is discard energy and rush your opponent, and you mostly only run Magmar, Ponyta, Rapidash, Ninetales, and Vulpix. And then you've got Moltres with Charizard and maybe Arcanine. Can I see this fitting anywhere in that deck? No. Because most of the time you run Charizard because he one-taps everything in the game. Now, if you want to run Arcanine, okay, but it's not the greatest. But the whole point is you do big damage with Moltres stacking up their energies. This doesn't do big damage and it requires free energy. You don't want to be relying upon that. So I'm going to say, as it currently stands, until it gets some like specific support to make it work, this card probably is a 4 out of 10. It's not a horrible card. It's just that it doesn't work because it hasn't got the support. So avoid Volcarona. There we go. Yeah, I can't read these names, alright? They're not normal names, okay? They're not normal names. So, yeah, avoid that. Not worth it. Morlu. Let's have a look. Where's your evolution? Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Right, I'm going to give this a... It's basically, again, Sand Slash, but it has sleep. So... I'm going to say this is an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Just because of sleep. You can even say 8.5. You can run this in your deck. You can make it work. Okay? And the reason you can make it work is because of the sleep. That's the ultimate stall. And this isn't even that weak either. It's got 60 health, 20 damage. So, even in fire decks that rush you, you can probably make a case to fight back. Also, why is Old Amber in here? That's weird. Okay. Right. Next card. Budding Expeditioner. Put Mew EX in the active spot into... Wait. Oh. It adds it to your hand. I thought it put it from your deck to you. That's very good. Run this card. Run Budding Expeditioner. The only problem is it's a support card. But as it stands, it's an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. To add an EX back to your hand and to be one of the best EXs, because look, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as dis attack. So basically, stuff like Charizard, you know, that card that needs 4 energy to do big damage, it can't do the 6 one because again, this isn't Mew, it hasn't got fire energy. But because it can take that attack and hit Charizard, it's going to be sweeping cards. The only problem is, again, you lose 2 price cards. So I would say Mew, as it stands, is probably a 9 out of 10 to a 9.5 out of 10 card. It is an amazing card to have. And this card, being able to add it back to your hand, it's an 8.5. The reason it's not as high is because there's 2 problems. One, you have to have a Mew on the field. And if you're bringing it back to your hand after you put all those energies on it, you've kind of wasted your time. So it's not going to be that great. You should only run 1 in your deck, really. But 2, the other reason is you need... Wait, I think you said... yeah, you hand it back to your hand, which is a problem. And 2, it's a dead draw if you don't have Mew. Or if you're not going to be running Mew that duel because, let's say, you didn't draw it early enough to set it all up. So, and if Mew gets 1 tap, it's another dead draw. So it can become a dead draw. So if you're going to run this, run only 1 in your deck. But it's not that great. I mean, sorry. It is great, but it is situational, and that's the problem. It's situational. And it has to be active spot too, so if they switch it out and knock it out, there's a problem. Right, Mythical Slab. This is a stupid card. 10 out of 10, I'm pretty sure. Look at the top card of your deck. If this card is a Psychic Pokemon, put it into your hand. If it is not a Psychic Pokemon, put it at the bottom of your deck. This is broken. Do you want to know why? 1, it helps you mill through your deck without discarding cards. And 2, it can get you a free Psychic card. So basically, if you say you don't want to shuffle your deck, I think red card could work it because it could shuffle your deck. So that way, don't run red card anyway. That's another story. But Mythical Slab, this card is a 10 out of 10 running every psychic deck. Okay, this is a 10 out of 10 card in my opinion. Providing you've got, like, let's say we've got Gardevoir in our deck. Okay, we got Gardevoir, we got Rolts and whatever it's called. So that's what, 2 of each, 6 cards plus 2 Mewtwo's, 8 cards and a Mew. Let's throw a Mew in there. That's 9 cards in your deck. Sorry, 9 Pokemon in your deck. So you got 9 Pokemon. You're most likely going to draw a few. Let's say we use Mythical Slab and we cycle through. We got Pokeball as well. So Pokeball can get us all the basic ones. Mythical Slab can get us the second stage. And if it doesn't get us the second stage, guess what? It gets us closer to getting it. The only problem is you're going to have mostly supports and stuff left at the end. But you can manipulate it to a degree based off of how much cards are left in your deck. So, Mythical Slab, you don't want to say 10 out of 10, say 9.5 out of 10, but it is the best card you can run in a Psychic deck. It helps you just mill through your deck a lot faster. I don't think Psychic should have got this, because again, they're already busted. But I think in comparison to Starmie and Pikachu, this might be a good boost for them. So yeah, Mythical Slab, good card, run it if you get it. You'll have to just figure out how it works a bit when you have it, but it is a good card. Do not sleep on it. I think it is brilliant for a Psychic deck, providing you have got Pokemon, and most Psychic decks have got Pokemon in them. Not like, oh, just a few, because everyone runs Gardevoir in their decks, which means you got 6 by minimum, and then you got your big hitters, and this will help you get your big hitters out. So yeah, Mythical Slab, that is a big win. Right. Dodgeon. Let's have a look. If this Pokemon is in your active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. Do not run this. Do not run this. If you're going to run a Dragon deck, run Dragonite. Don't run this. This is terrible. Yeah, this is terrible. Just don't run this. It's not worth it. The problem here is you haven't got a way. Okay, for example, Brock, if you were running a, let's say you were running a water deck and you want to have Onix in your deck for some odd reason. I don't know why you would, but you could. And you could use Brock to put the energy on Onix. I think that works. I'm pretty sure it works. I've not tried it, but I'm sure that works because it says put an... It might say from the bench, actually. But the point here is, because you can't consistently choose which energy you're going to get until they fix that and put that in the game, I've had matches where I tried a Dragonite deck and I got 10 water energies in a row before I got an electric one and then I lost. You see how stupid that is? And until we can toggle the percentage ourselves, like say, hey, I want a 75% chance of getting water energy, 25 getting thunder, then there's really no point to try something like this. And on top of it, who's running a water fire deck? What are we gonna do? What are we even gonna do with that? I guess you could try Ponyta Rapidash, Ninetales. No, don't try Ninetales. That discards them. Ponyta Rapidash with Starmie EX. Yeah, maybe, but for 90 damage, that's not worth it. Not only is 90 damage terrible, it does 20 damage to whoever attacks it, and it's got 100 health. That's getting in one shot, 2 at minimum. It's not worth it. Just don't get this card. Don't play it. It's a 1 out of 10. It's not because the cards are weak or bad. It's because there's no support whatsoever to make this a viable card. Just do not play this card unless you want to meme it extremely hard on yourself. Right, so who else we got? We've went through all of you. We haven't went through this. Mega Kick, 120 damage, 3 rock energy, fighting energy. I'm calling them rock. It doesn't matter. It looks like a rock one. I like it, but the problem is if it 90 damage, 120 health. It's a good stall. So if you get this and you just leave it in there to stall, that can work. I'd say probably 4 out of 10. No, 5 out of 10. It's got the health, but yeah, 4 out of 10. 4.5 out of 10. Okay, this is okay. You can wall with it, but it's not something you really want to go with. If you're playing a rock deck and you need a stall, this is good compared to throwing Snorlax, which is just, you know, overkill because you can't even get it out and you can't attack with it because it's just not worth it. But yeah, Stonjourner, 4 out of 10. Right, I think we've almost gone through all of them now. So this one, it's your Meowth. It's a Psychic card's Meowth. It's a Psychic deck's Meowth. Oh my goodness, this is stupid. The only thing is it hasn't got an evolution like Persian, but a 5 out of 10. A 5.5 out of 10. You can have uses for this, and it's quick to get out. The only reason I'm going to say 5.5 out of 10 is because Psychic decks, because you're trying to get 2 Gardevoirs out, and once you've got 2 Gardevoirs out, you're set. You're going to have your active Pokemon, let's say Mewtwo, and then you're going to have somebody else on the bench to switch over once Mewtwo's gone. You don't want this in the bench. So we're going to drop it down to a 4.5 out of 10. Not because it's a bad card, but because you're already tight as it is. So you don't want to have something extra just taking up your bench spots. Right, who else we got? Again, I like that card. Put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile into their bench. It works for those bench hitting cards, but there's a problem here. If I've knocked out your bench Pokemon, there's a big problem here. There's 2 problems. So, yes, you can knock out a bench Pokemon, put it on their bench again. But if I'm knocking out my opponent's Pokemon, why would I want to give them a basic... Let's say... Like you can work stuff with this. You can work stuff with it. But it's so situational. It's going to be a 4 out of 10. Because let's say I knock out your Mewtwo EX, and then I decide, hey, I want to put it back on your bench. I wouldn't do that. But let's say I knock out your Magikarp, and I'm like, I'm going to knock it back out again. So let me put it back on your bench, and then you evolve it to Gyarados the next turn. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks. Now I just got a Gyarados sitting there. Now, I could have a Sabrina and then switch it back in, and that, you know, we got a little game going on. But the problem is, why would you want to help your opponent to a degree where they might have the evolution in their hand, they were waiting to evolve it, you knock it out, and it's like, hey, let me put it back up there, knock it out again, and then you evolve it, and it's like, oh, okay, now I've got a headache. So, a 3 out of 10, it's not really that great. I wouldn't bother, 3 out of 10. Leaf. During this turn, the retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 2 less. 8 out of 10. No way, hold on. 10 out of 10, actually. That's a 10 out of 10 card. Because loads of Pokemon have 2 retreat costs. And if you have, let's say, a retreat thingy with it as well, you can get it out straight away. It does mean you've got to give up a supporter card that turn. So we could say 9.5. But I'm going to give this the first 10 out of 10 card. So Leaf is great. Why we called you Leaf? I understand because blue's technically blue or green, depending on what country at the time. I'm happy with Leaf. So yeah, Leaf is a 10 out of 10 card. You could throw this in as a support, but if you got too much supports, I wouldn't recommend it. But hey, maybe you might want to take... Actually, no. If you're not running a lot of supports, throw green in. Otherwise, it's a 9.5 out of 10 actually, because it's a support card, and that's the problem. We don't want to be using up more of our support cards, because think about it. You've got Sabrina, Giovanni, Professor Oak. Those are the 3 main ones. If you're running a water deck, you got Misty. If you're running Brock deck, you got Brock. If you're running Blaine deck, you got Blaine. If you're running maybe Pikachu deck, you don't even need it because you just use retreat cost anyway. So this is the problem with running in with this card. It's a 9.5 because it's just good. But the problem is it's a support card, and we don't want to be going for our support cards as much as we are because we have no room to play around. Magma. This got 2 fire energies. Oh, it's 2 fire energies. That's not worth it. You don't want to be sitting there to get 2 fire energies to do 80 damage. That's not fun. And the other one, what, 50 damage for 2? That's terrible. But then 80 damage for 2 that you have to then discard. If it was discard 1, but then again, that would make Ninetales obsolete. So at best, I could see this being like a 5 out of 10. Mid. But yeah, don't run this. If you're gonna run it, run 1 max and see if you can make it work. But in a blind deck, just don't bother. You're better off with just Rapidash, 2 Rapidash, 2 Ponyta, 2 Ninetales, 2 Vulpix, and just leave it at that. I don't think there's any other fire types I saw that could go in and help. No. Yeah, so just stick with that. Blue. During your opponent's next turn, all of your Pokemon take 10 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. There are certain decks this can work with. Melmetal. And where is it? Golem. Because Golem already reduces it by 30. So I'll give Blue a... he's situational though, so it's probably more of a 7.5 out of 10. Because there's a lot of times where your opponent just gets the maths in and you know you've lost. And it'd be like, oh, if it was 10 less damage, I would have been fine. This is that card that's 10 less damage. And again, it's all your Pokemon. So, for example, Articuno, that shuts it down half the time. Because when I've lost, it's always been because, oh, we knocked out my bench Pokemon that was on 10 HP. If I had Blue and I played that, you wouldn't be knocking out my bench Pokemon and I would have finished you off. So I'm going to give Blue a 7.5 out of 10. It's not horrible. It's good. But it is a bit of a niche. Right, so... we did talk about that. Mew. Your opponent reveals their hand. 20 damage. That's not bad, actually. 20 damage. It says Mew EX to put back to your hand, doesn't it? Where is it? Yeah. You don't... That's the thing. You don't want that spot wasted on a Pokemon. But, I mean, if you can see your opponent's hand, you can prepare for the whole game. I use that hand reveal card a lot of the time, and I've won just because I know what my opponent has, I know what's left in their deck, and I know what they can do. And then I sometimes might red card, sometimes I won't red card, and I'll be like, okay, keep that in your hand, because I know you bricked, or I know what you're going to play, so I can prepare in advance. So, Mew could... It's a 3.5 out of 10. Just don't run it. You can run it, but I highly recommend you don't, because you're not going to get the value you want until we have decks that are like, hey, discard this card from your opponent's hand, and they let us select. It's not worth it. So yeah, and then Tauros. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 80 more damage. 100 health though, that's the problem. So he ain't knocking them out. And then again, it's EXs. That's the problem. If it's a deck that doesn't run EXs, this is a dead card. So I'm going to say Tauros is a 7 out of 10 because everyone does run EXs, but he isn't knocking them out and he requires free energy. And it's like, do you have the time to invest free energy in a game onto a Pokemon that's not going to even knock out an EX? And then if they switch their EX, he is useless and you can't switch him out because then you have to put the energy back on again. So let's put him down to a 6.5. Tauros isn't that strong, but again, if we get to a point where we can start adding, let's say we get double colorless energy in the deck, or we get some support for colorless energy, he can then become a threat. He's got his situation and circumstances, but you're better off running something like Kangaskhan doing 60 damage if you get 2 heads versus a Tauros that does 120 if an EX is out, and you can then switch to EX. So he's dropping when I think about the scenario even more, but he's probably more of a 4 out of 10, 4.5 best. Right, I think that's every Pokemon almost. Okay. So Mew, Mew, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon. Like I said, and he does do 20 damage off the start. That's good. I'm gonna say Mew is a 9 out of 10, just because it's colorless and you can use him in any deck. So he can work in majority of decks. Okay, you can work around him somehow and get him in there. I don't think you would want to, but he can. Aerodactyl, your opponent's active Pokemon your opponents can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their active Pokemon. Active, it says. So, you know, if Gardevoir's at the back and Ralts, if Ralts is at the back, they're still evolving it. If the new, what's it called? If Geodude's at the back, we're evolving it. If What are you called? What are you called? Damn it, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? If Snivy's at the back, we're evolving it. If Eevee's at the back, we're evolving it. That's the problem. You can still evolve them if they're at the back. 80 damage isn't bad for 2 energy. But then there's another problem, and this is the reason why I think Aerodactyl is a bad card. It's this. Old Amber. You need to get this on the field. And the problem with this is it's not a Pokemon. You cannot search for it. You need to draw into this. So you're going to have 2 in your deck, 2 Aerodactyls, with no guarantee you're going to even draw into it because you can't search it. I've run a fossil deck, okay? I've run a Kabutops deck, which I think Kabutops is a fantastic Pokemon. But the problem it runs into is that I never draw the fossil. And even if I do get the fossil, half the time they'll switch it in, knock it out. And because it's so weak, and that's a free price card, and it can't even fight back, and the last thing you want to do is discard it, there's so much variables that make this hard to play. Although, now I think about it, this is a rock fighting card, so I might be able to squeeze this into my Kabutops deck and see what outcome I get. But as I said, it's not good. It's great that it can stop active Pokemon from evolving, but then if they just switch it out, then again you can't do anything. I say this is a 6 out of 10. Don't get it though. Don't even try it if you're not comfortable with it. It's a 6 out of 10, but it's very hard to pull off. Okay, if it works great, but it's so hard to pull off. Gyarados, we already talked about why this is bad. Pidgeot, kind of bad. Right, so that'll be the last card. Powerful Bloom. Flip a coin. For each energy attached to this Pokemon, this attack does 50 damage for each head. You have to run... What's it called? I mean, you don't have to, but... what's she called? What's she called? Here we go. Superior is brilliant with this card. Because each energy is now... What? 20, an extra 2 flips. But the problem is, it's a flip of a coin. If it was, hey, you do... Oh, wait. Yeah. If it was... Wait, flip a coin. Yeah. If it was, you do 50 damage for each energy attached, this would be a fantastic 10 out of 10 card. But it's not. It's flip a coin. Flip a coin. You understand how stupid that is. 2 coins can get you an easy 100 damage. That's great. But you could also get none. And I've seen Exeggutor come out and do the same thing. That would be what actually you should do. You should run this and Exeggutor and play a full-on luck deck where you're just flipping coins. The good thing is we got Erica to heal it. So, run Exeggutor, Celebi, and I think there was somebody else I was thinking of. Let me have a look. No, I don't think there's any other grass types. Well, that's why it was a grass type. Let me just double check. You could try that and just put them to sleep. And not this Exeggutor, I mean EX. So you could try that. Don't try that. Yeah, I mean you could. But you're going to be running 2 Celebi EXs, 2 Exeggutor EXs, Exeggcute. And you're going to have to hope you evolve straight away before they knock it out. And then with that, you can at least switch. And then you just keep flipping coins and hope you get some heads. That's the only way I can see it working. But Celebi is just too chance-based for my liking. And again, it's 130 health. It's going to be getting one tap by a few stuff. Flip a coin if each energy attached. Yeah. The only good thing is you have Erica. And a lot of healing stuff. So I'm going to put it as an 8 out of 10. It's not bad. It's actually quite nice. But if it was guaranteed damage, I'd be like, yes, run it. It's not guaranteed damage. You could probably still run it in every single grass deck. Like, run 1 minimum. Just run it. Because it can work. It's a good card. But don't sit there thinking, oh yeah, it's going to just save me. Because again, I played in matches where Exeggutor comes out, you flip a coin, he's always just doing tails, tails, tails. And it's like, whenever my opponent does it, it happens all the time. But whenever I do it, it just never happens. So, that is all the cards. Let me just quickly look at the art. I'm not a fan of gold cards like that. I love that. That is gorgeous. That is cute. Not a fan. That is a 10 out of 10 art design. I mean, I'll say that, but I just love the art design. Not a fan of. Not a fan of. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Pretty good. Okay. Not feeling it. Adorable. I love it. I love it, even though you are the trashiest of trash. Gorgeous. That is the best art. That is cute. That is just creepy. I'm not a fan of that. And I do like that one a lot. But right, that is all the cards. I do apologise because this took me a while. Oh my goodness, it's over an hour long. I will timestamp every single card for you all. I'm going to be making some decks, posting them. Also, a live stream will be popping up next week, Monday. For anyone who wants to join, win yourself £5 for beating me. Yeah, I know it's only £5, but why not? £5. Come, sit down, chat, enjoy yourself. I know some people holiday get lonely, so you know you can come just sit down, hang, talk whilst we play a bit of TCG Pokemon. But what I will say for my fans that do watch my content because it's completely different, but they wouldn't be watching this anyway. But yeah, for fans that do watch content, I will be posting challenges. They are going to be coming up. Shorts are going to be coming up consistently. I am off for 2 weeks after this week, and I am going to be just uploading, mass spamming content as much as possible. Because, again, I would like to do this and get a bit of extra cash, but on top of it, I'd like to build something for people. I can talk about all that during the live stream. But point is, if you enjoyed it, like, subscribe. I have timestamped every single Pokemon that I talk about, giving my thoughts about why they're good, why they're bad. This was just a rushed out video because I saw it all and I was like, let me give my thoughts for people that are wondering. I'm going to have some decks coming up too of ideas, some sort of AMV style ones, and some I'm just going to sit down and tell you why you run this deck and how to work it and how to make it well. But that's all I'm going to say. If you like my content, don't be a stranger, drop me a like and subscribe. If you hate my content, don't be shy to dislike something by the side. Comment, ladies and gents, and until next time, goodbye.